Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day here of the RSL. I'm Tasteless, joined with me is State. How's it going, buddy?
I'm feeling pretty excited, Tasteless. We have a big best of 7 lined up for you guys today. The upper bracket finals between Classic and Cure, the last Protoss remaining, and a Terran who's on a hot streak. One of them is going to the grand finals. One of them is going to the lower bracket.
Yeah, these guys have played incredibly here this season of RSL. I think it's a pretty tough one to call who's going to take it. I think maybe Cure has impressed me. Out of all the players we've had this season, I think he's maybe been, at least for me, the most impressive. What about you?
He's been very, very impressive, but the fact that Classic was able to make it all the way here through the finals with the bracket that he had to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, the reigning GSL champion now here in the RSL, just one best of 7 away from making that grand finals. Yeah, it's tough to call. I really don't know who to favor here.
Yeah, it is going to be a best of 7, by the way, so we're going to have a pretty long and dramatic day unless it turns out to be extremely one-sided, so it should be a blast. We are very, very happy to every broadcast say we're so proud to be sponsored by Archonstudio. It's the official broadcast partner of Season 1. They are currently working on the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. And by the nearing end of the year, their tabletop miniatures game is going to be available for pre-orders. It looks sick. I know everybody here at the studio has been super hyped about this. I can't wait to get my hands on it myself. Go to their website, because it's not just a StarCraft tabletop miniatures game that they are working on. They've got a whole plethora of different cool products for a lot of different franchises, some of which are my favorite outside of the StarCraft universe. So lots of love to them.
Yeah, and of course, if you would be kind enough to support the RSL, we would sincerely appreciate it. We're kind of in this new era of StarCraft 2 with a lack of publisher support where, it's really the community that's going to be driving the progress moving forward. And if you go to patreon.com/ReviveSC2, there are not just these tiers, but many tiers above this and between this. And honestly, it's been a pleasure to have so much support from the community and also the contributions of the community, adding players, voting them in to the tournament, voting in the maps to the tournament. I have been so impressed with maps like Kill Switch. They've been really fun to watch. It's been great.
It's been exciting. We're hoping to rent out, and we're getting very close now to our goal of doing an offline event here in Seoul. We don't know exactly where. We have to kind of sort that out when we get there. That'll be something we could talk more about after EWC. But we've also got 20% off on all Tasteless TV merch, and that includes RSL merch, which is on my merch shop. Go to tastelessthreads.com. There's a bunch of great stuff on there. And I really feel like on this merch site of mine, we've got something for everybody. Maybe you just want a tournament brand like the RSL. Maybe you want something very memey. We've got that. You want something very subtle. We've got that too. So please do check that out.
Yeah, without further ado. Oh, actually, with further ado, Tasteless, as we have that one extra slide, it's up to you guys to help the RSL grow. Go to youtube.com/ReviveSC2 and x.com/ReviveSC2. We're trying to build up the social media pages, especially on YouTube now. There is a spoiler-free playlist for the RSL that you guys can check out. It's a great way to, consume all the content if you're not watching it live. And Tasteless, now without further ado, game 1 of this best of 7 between Cure and Classic is loaded up on Persephone. Cure spawning in the top left, Classic in the bottom left.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Both these guys have looked so incredibly strong. I do feel like, looking at Cure, I feel like this is the strongest I've ever seen him, and he's looked insanely good before.
Yeah, his TVZ has just been out of this world, and maybe the scariest part of his TVZ is the fact that, as Rainer pointed out in his cast last week, you kind of know that he's going to be going for an 8-Rex in basically every game.
Yeah.
But he is just the master of it, whether it be the build order, the execution, even the Sim City between like the natural expansion and the third base. He has just been so deadly. But going up against a Classic who, in his journey through the playoffs, took down Byun 3-2, took down Clem 3-1. He's on a PVT hot streak, so this is really going to be an epic clash in this upper bracket finals.
Yeah, Classics had overall a pretty slow in some ways, withdrawn style. Certainly not a bad way to play the game. Basically just building up, developing on his side of the map and growing, taking lots of bases. And this puts a burden on the Terran because the Terran's really required to try to figure out how to finish the game. The Protoss just wants to try to stretch the game out as long as possible until they're basically too big to fail. PvT wasn't always like this, but it certainly feels like it's like this right now. Now, this game, Cure has gone for his tech first, and will probably be getting a command center after that, unless he does do something super crazy in aggro.
Yeah, I'm also expecting just a 1-1-1 to expand or something like that with this double gas opening here from Cure. On Classic side of things, a pretty straightforward expansion build coming at you with an Adept first, so it's not a Sentry first opening that we do sometimes see in the current patch where you energy recharge and get the Hallucination Scout early. Instead, Classic might be a little bit in the dark about what this 2-gas build is going to be, and now with Cure sending the first Reaper into the main base here of Classic, should know exactly what is up.
So, for now, it's going to be probably a little bit slow. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Cure does do some kind of drop coming up here. That's pretty typical. Maybe even go for Banshees instead. Those are one of the two major forks in what kind of builds you can do here. And Classic, we can almost know for sure, is probably not going to be aggro. If he did decide to be aggro in this series in a couple of these games, that would be a big plot twist because his style has been predictable. And by the way, predictable isn't always bad in StarCraft 2. Sometimes you can just be so good that even if your opponent knows what you're up to, it doesn't matter because they're just so solid at doing it. A lot of times people, when they're really strong in plays like that, the play style is kind of fundamentally uninteresting. As far as like it has no weird quirks or weaknesses or so surprises, so to speak, but instead it's just a very steady, safe, conservative play through the game. And sometimes that's the most painful style of play to lose against. It's somebody where you know exactly how they play and it kind of doesn't matter what you do.
We did have a Sentry come out after that Adept, so there is a Scout here for Classic confirming the Reaper Hellion opening coming in from Cure. Those 3 Reapers going to come in. Looks like they were eyeing the mineral line there in the natural expansion for a moment. Instead, just going to barely escape. Oh no, a little bit of an unfortunate turn there for the Reapers as one of them gets shot down. And Classic, he's going up to Blink. He's adding in 2 additional gateways. I think given the energy that he has on that Sentry, plus the shield battery here in the natural expansion, he just should be completely fine against this Reaper Hellion opening.
So we have the Robo base started here. No third base yet, but I would expect one to come down pretty quickly here. If not, we're going to have like a lot more gateways thrown down here, maybe some kind of Blink aggression. But Cure really making the first move outside of the initial Hellion Reaper harass. He's going to come up and try to go into the main with this Widowmine drop.
Yeah, Minivac now coming in, watching the minimap to see if Cure also pulls the trigger on the
Hellions. I like
Hellions.
the hallucination.
Yeah. There's anything you can do. I mean, you're going to be sacrificing one of these units, right? So that's a nice way to do it. Blink almost finished up as now, in fact, those Hellions and Reapers coming into the natural expansion, trying to work their way past the shield battery, get some confirmed damage done. 3 probes in total going down thus far, but not too much more damage than that. And I think Cure, when you go for this kind of opening, you're hoping to get a little bit more damage done. But look at this, Tasteless. We don't have a fast third base coming in from Classic by any means. Instead, it's a really fast Templar Archives on the back of 4 Vespene Geysers.
Yeah, I feel like I don't see this hallucinated Stalker maneuver against Widowmines ever, but I like it. He didn't really execute it that well. He actually had another Stalker that could have ran in and soaked up a Widowmine shot, but it does feel like that could, you know, I guess it's possible that Cure flies in there and goes, you would not have that many Stalkers here, and just knows it's fake. If that's how he saw that, that's pretty wild, but I like the idea. That's a very cool strategy.
Yeah, I'm just very surprised by the way that Classic is developing back at home. This third base is considerably later than you usually see. He went 3-gate Blink into a Robo, and then took the additional 2 gases, which usually are delayed, and then behind that, added in the Templar Archives for a very fast Storm before taking that third Nexus. And this means that the economy of Classic, it's not going to be that good. You know, a two-base Protoss is going to have naturally a little bit less eco than a 2-base Terran because of, you know, the way the mule saturation works. But what Classic is getting as compensation for that is he's not spending as much money on probes. He's not really getting that Nexus as quickly. Instead, he's getting Storm out so fast, and 5 additional gateways coming in. He is bracing for the timing attack that Cure's going to throw at him, and his army is going to be impressive.
Yeah, I like this. No Colossus just yet. Instead, really going to lean into the Psy Storm, which, you know, it's hard because Terran, if you can't, you know, kill the Templar in time or EMP it, which is not available at the moment, you kind of have to just eat the storm, right? And so that's going to be a really, really tough. We have a big drop coming out here. Now, Classic is hugging the bottom of the map. I don't know what's in his main, but he does need to be ready to deal with this right when it gets in there, or this could pop a lot of pylons and possibly important tech. And he could even feedback this.
Yeah, Kier sees that and just immediately retreats, going for a third command center as well, so it's not going to be a heavily committed 2-base timing attack from Kier. Instead, just developing. And, you know, Classic, economically, he has been chrono boosting probes a lot, it seems like, ever since he took that later third base. Adding an additional Vespene geysers as well, playing a really high gas style. It makes me wonder if we're going to see maybe a robotics bay come in from Classic sometime soon. But as it is right now, just continuing to power up. He has so many gateways back at home, adding in 3 additional pylons. There is potential for Classic actually just, yeah, I was going to say make a Warp Prism and start getting aggressive here, because this is a pretty significant moment where the power spike for the Protoss is really hitting, whereas Terran, they don't have a lot of the critical upgrades, they don't have Ghosts out yet to deal with the Templar, and it looks like it might be Warp Prism aggression and a second Robo with Robo Bay.
Yeah, this is cool. Excuse me, this is not what I thought we were going to see today here. I think he absolutely could move out. Now, Terran, you know, they can be a little bit more nimble on the map, so there's always a chance you start to move out and they pick up everything and try to go in there and drop it. We have had some kind of base tradey games already, and the PVTs here in the RSL. But right now, Terran is not doing that, is not set up to do that whatsoever. And this is going to hit the third. And honestly, I mean, this could be really difficult to deal with. I think he just threw 4 Templars in the Warp Prism. Generally, the game plan is that you drop the Templars out so they can't be, you know, sniped or picked off in any other way before their storms get out.
Yeah, just going to defuse this Widow Mine right now with the Blink Stalkers. First Ghost is halfway done for Cure, which means he's not going to have any EMPs for this fight. First Storm comes down. Not the best connection right there. Not even really hitting those Widow Mines yet. Just mostly zoning away the Terran army. But they're a big connection on the SCVs. 12 going down.
Beautifully done. The Zealots are going to come in here now. 15 SCVs already killed in this game. The main is decimated. You can see the Warp Prism is still running around. I think it can escape towards the top left, which means this position down here at the third is going to be very softened. Can he not push it any further? Maybe he made the right call. I guess maybe the storms were all drained. Better to go back and regroup and gear up for another attack, especially with 2 Colossi in the mail here. Thermal Lance being upgraded as well.
Yeah, I think the objective was basically accomplished there by Classic. You put pressure on the third base, you secure 1 Storm there in that mineral line, and then a Zealot drop in the main combines for, what, like 15 SCVs go down in total? And behind it, he has the second Forge online now. Double Robo Colossus production has begun. Kira at this point is starting to equalize a little bit in terms of the army composition now that he's been able to add some Ghosts into the mix to deal with the Templar. But once Kira has that 4th base kick in, and say we have 3 or 4 Colossi with Thermal Lance and 2 additional upgrades finishing up, it's going to be a scary moment. And actually these armies once again getting really close to each other. Classic trying to keep Kira in his base.
And it's going to be tough for Terran to traverse this, because... Oh, did he just make a hallucinate? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw a hallucinate Colossus. I thought that was another interesting moment where he could intend something different there. Terran has a hard time sieging and unsieging and trying to advance in these positions. I mean, one advantage Protoss has is they don't have to, like, siege up at all. God damn, that's a lot of gateways. So 8 more gateways coming up here. Terran is moving out. If Terran's going to make this work, it's probably going to be now, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Now, that being said, Protoss is sort of out of position. He's racing back here to try to meet him. He wants to at least force siege mode once or twice before he has to, you know, fight. And there's that first force siege mode. He's going to come out here and basically try to disarm the mine.
Yeah, now it's 16 gateways online here for Classic. You can tell he's itching for a fight. Thermal Lance, I think it might be, yeah, it is done. +1 ground armor just completed, +2 ground weapons nearly complete as well here for Protoss. This is another big power spike. And Kier, I think he knows he's kind of on a timer. He sees Classic taking a 5th base right now, just to the 3 bases of Kier. And now Classic, he might be on the hunt.
Yeah, again, you know, with 3 bases, what you see is what you get for Terran. Classic is starting to really fill up his bank account now. Lots of minerals, lots of gas. Stalkers maybe jumping in a little bit too soon. This is going to be in the way of the Zealots. Regardless, it's the Psy Storms we want to watch here. Maybe an overextension, beautifully done. You can see Cure tries to go for the dive, and that immediately causes a pullback here. Another attack in. I'm not seeing a lot of Psy Storms.
Yeah, the EMP was huge. Only one Templar had energy remaining, so 2 more Storms is all Classic is going to get as we have a big Zealot warp in. But so far, Cure with just impeccable control is able to pick this Protoss army apart. Some nice micro right there on the Warp Prism, just saving the life of 1 more Colossus. But wow, that was a beautiful engagement by Cure. That EMP absolutely saving the day.
But the big difference right now is it's 100 minerals for Cure. It was actually 2K minerals a second ago. And so he can dump all that back into supply. Now, they're both almost maxed out again, but this is going to be a lot of muscle here on the map right now for Classic. And Classic's still growing. I mean, we just now have Cure taking a 4th base at 12 o'clock. And this is really where the growth factor just gets out of control. And Classic's army is so big, you can't really pick up and try to drop somewhere because the Protoss is more than happy to sacrifice, even if it's the main at times, they'll sacrifice whatever additional bases they have or infrastructure they have just to kind of roll through and wipe out everything you've got.
Yeah, so now Curie's even pushing out again with this army, taking a 5th base behind it as well. We have a little bit of a clash over here on the right side of the map. Vikings doing good job taking down the first Colossus, going to try and connect with the second one. Warp Prism not able to save it. The Storms, they do a little bit of a good job of shooing away the Terran. Don't really want to chase the Protoss through those Storms, but in terms of total damage, not really connecting, and you can see the units lost. Yes, Classic's economy has been so much bigger, but the trades have been so much more efficient for Terran.
Terran's starting to advance, but he hasn't got anything done yet. There's been trades back and forth in the middle of the map. We're now up to, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases for Protoss. Now, there's a lot more command centers being made here. The Terran is still very difficult for the Protoss to engage with. You're going to kind of walk through a lot of damage before it's your turn to make your attacks out here. But at the same time, Cure hasn't really done anything with this, right? I mean, he hasn't killed a base. He hasn't killed any workers. Speaking of workers, 80 probes this game to Cure's 67 SCVs.
Yeah, and I think Cure actually peeling back and going for a second starport plus the Fusion Core. This is looking like he's going to be trying to transition into some kind of late game, but as you said, the economy considerably further behind than Classic. Yes, Cure has been more efficient. Also, really nice job dodging that EMP right there with the Warp Prism hot pickup. And Classic, he's identifying the situation really well. He's also going for the Stargate right now. He's starting his shield upgrades. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw air weapons come in from Classic very soon, as it seems like both players are starting to ramp up for a potential endgame.
Yeah, the Stalkers are going to come in. They blink away. You know, Cure is kind of finished all the pieces of the puzzle here. I love the Zealots fractioning off. Oh, never mind. Is he going to go in with everything else? Okay, he's moving it again. Huge storm there on that clump of infantry.
Yeah, the first storm, really good job of connecting on top of those Marauders, but this is a tough position for Classic actually to push into. I'm surprised, but I guess with the bank that Classic's got, you got to go for this. Nice storm connecting there on the left side, then an ambitious blink forward right there. A lot of those Stalkers immediately getting taken down, but now they and the Archons can get to work on those Vikings. Meanwhile, the Storms really just destroying the bio on the left side, and with the bank that Classic has, keep in mind, 16 gateways. We have so many units warping in, Tasteless.
That is crazy. This game's over. Basically, he got up to 3K minerals. He forced his way through. Took the fight really well. And I love the way that he's going to close this out. He's just going to get on top of infrastructure. He's not going to waste too much more time trying to poke out all these other bases. GG! Cure taps out, and Classic takes game number 1.
Yeah, Cure was so much more efficient over the course of that early and mid-game, but Classic just expanding at such a rapid pace. I mean, he was double expanding there at the very end, too, taking the gold, and also the triangle base going up to, what, 7 expansions in total with 80-plus workers, 16 gateways, a massive bank, and that's one of the dangerous things about the style of TVP that Cure is playing, or I guess TVP just in general in the current meta, is that if you lose one big fight like Cure did back at his base, when Protoss economy is that large, if they have the Warp Prism on the front line, I mean, it just snowballs so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there's just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that can be done. Cure, at one point in time in the game, he has to be really careful with how he moves out on the map. But we're just seeing, like, the Protoss, like, expand around the push, you know what I mean? We've seen this on that map a couple times because they're both sharing the left side, that they'll just expand up through the right. And the reality is we can look at the armies all day and see, like, who has what and, like, did the storm hit, did the EMP hit, and that matters. But I think the bigger factor, honestly, is just that the bank account gets so much higher for the Protoss that whatever they've lost, they refill. You know, usually we have games where this happens where the Zerg gets so much of the bank income, and then they, like, make all the units that counter. Like, as an example, versus a Terran. They'll make all the units that counter the Terran, and then Terran tries to counter that, and then they have another round of bank that Zerg does. Yeah. And then they kind of counter that, and eventually it's checkmate. You get the Terrans kind of tech and army-wise painted into a corner. So, yeah, crazy stuff. This is what our bracket's looking like right now, guys. Right now, Classic with a 1-2-0 lead versus Cure. As a reminder for those that are, of you who are just now joining us, this is a best of 7. It's one best of 7 today. Down in the losers bracket, which will be tomorrow, we're going to have Shin versus Clem, and then the winner of that versus the loser of today's match.
Yeah, and that's going to be another epic day of StarCraft is RSL. Only 3 days remaining, including today. We're getting very close to wrapping up Season 1. And so far, Classic and Kira have both been looking so strong.
Yeah, it's been a really fun season so far. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue on in this best of 7.
Welcome back to the RSL, everybody. We are continuing on with the winners bracket final here between Classic and Cure. This is a best of 7. Classic leading the series 1-0, and I am joined for game 2 right now with Gemini. How you doing, Jemmy?
Pretty good. I'm excited to come back to do a little bit more Protoss versus Terran action. The first game was pretty sick. I was watching, of course, on the sidelines, but yeah, I'm curious to see what ends up happening for the rest of the series. I mean, Classic has looked so strong so far throughout this entire tournament, and he's showing up just yet again against Cure here.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the way that he is approaching PBT right now because it is not greedy at all. That game number 1 where he went for 3-gate blink and then got a Robo and then got a Templar Archives and 2 more gases before taking the 3rd base is like, okay, you're playing this so safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know realistically how a Terran player punishes you besides like an extremely quick all-in, but you have the hallucination scout. If you see it coming, you just don't do that build. And it just feels rock solid. And it's kind of a slow start right there for Classic, but on the backbone of that very defensive and powerful setup, his economy just booms. You see him increasing the rate of expansion so rapidly after that 3rd base that, as Tasteless would say, he gets too big to fail very, very quickly. And I'm curious what Cure is going to do here in game number 2 to try and deal with that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. I'm even like thinking about it just kind of to copy as my own style for PvT. I feel like it's a very good like ladder style as well. Like if you don't know what your ladder opponents are going to be doing, like just copying this seems like a very solid, stable way to just kind of navigate the early game if you're not really sure what a lot of those Terran players are up to. So yeah, Cure's definitely going to have to alter his approach here just a little bit. We'll see what he wants to do as we jump on into our next map, which is going to be good old Salmonella over here. I'm very excited to see this map yet again. Yesterday we had no idea what to say, and this time I do know. I'm calling it that now.
Salmonella, yeah. Make sure you wipe down your cutting board before you put anything else on it after you watch this game.
Careful where you put your pylons here.
Yeah, Classic spawning over here in the top left, Cure down in the bottom right. And I like what you said because it really is a great build for the ladder. I remember when I was just trying to get as high as I possibly could on the ladder, the approach that I found was the most successful for me is that I'm not trying to win or kill the other guy, I'm just trying not to lose.
Right.
Which is like, it sounds like it's kind of a nothing burger, but like if you actually do change your perspective a little bit in your approach to the game, it's like, well, how do I just prevent myself from dying in a really dumb way? You can find a lot of success just being stable and rock solid, kind of the way that Classic was in game 1 there against Cure.
Yeah, it's kind of okay to just kind of like not play like a pro player sometimes. Like it's totally fine to just do something that works and just doesn't die. But the best part about this part is that a pro is literally doing that this time. So you can do both. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time it's going to be, it looks like a double gas opener out of Cure as well. So that's, I believe, a switch up. I don't think he did that last game, did he? So
no, he did in game 1. It was like the 1-1-1 with a command center behind it. He went for Hellions and Reapers to start things out. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult proposition. PBT is in a funny spot right now because for much of StarCraft 2's history, frankly, like almost all of StarCraft 2's history, whenever Terra would do these 2-gas builds, it was always a little bit of a guessing game for Protoss to figure out what it's going to be. You know, like some of the responses, like say you go for Stargate and Phoenix, which can be very good against a build like a Widowmine drop, because you're able to just completely stop it in its tracks, or like a Cyclone push out because you can just lift that up and then you have unupgraded Marines to deal with on the ground. Now in PvT, because of energy recharge on sentries, as we do see the sentry being the first unit out of the gateway, there isn't very much of a fog of war when it comes to what is the Terran doing and what kind of tricks do they have up their sleeves in terms of timing attack. And that has really led to some funky meta shifts in this matchup. We saw in like GSL, I think it was Season 1 or Season 2, instead of seeing really a variety of different timing attacks from Terran, it was a variety of different timed SCV pulls that sometimes, frankly, didn't make sense when the SCV pulls would happen. And that would kind of be the play that the Terran would go for. It's, well, you scouted me with a hallucination, you know that I probably shouldn't be going for an SCV pull at that time. And that's why this is a good move, is because it's unexpected. And it's just a very awkward position to be in right now. I don't know, frankly, if it's balanced or not, but just in terms of the way that these early game builds with double gas openings versus obviously the Protoss fast expand have been working out, it feels really odd, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to navigate if you're not just like super keeping tabs on everything. Like you said, they just go around the scouts basically. Like, you know, you scout that they're looking like they're playing a macro game, and then once the scout, the hallucination dies, they're like, okay, well, let's just bring everything across the map now. And if you're not just, constantly sending things out or just always aware that that could happen, then yeah, you could just kind of get rolled over. So you do have to be very careful about stuff like that. This time we do have yet again going, we have a blink opener this time actually from Classic, going to be going straight into that. And we'll see if he wants to also do the super fast storm play yet again as he did last game. Looks like Cure is going to be trying to set up a little double Hellion, double Reaper, double prong attack going onto the main and natural, actually triple Reaper in the main base here. Should be trying to get through that battery energy, but the battery is a perfect addition to this defense as well from Classic. I love that, making sure that he doesn't lose anything, knowing how many Reapers and stuff were made earlier on. So he should be pretty good as long as he just keep that Stalker too far away. And the Hellions basically can't do anything at the front either, and the Hallucination is going to be able to track the medevac coming across. This is an excellent opener from Classic.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty much the same as the build from game number 1. The biggest delineation that I can see right now, the biggest difference between these two openings is that we have only one extra gas coming in the natural expansion.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's looking effectively identical. We have the Robo coming in before the third base. We'll have to wait and see if eventually he will take that extra gas at the natural expansion before the third expansion. As Kira is going to be going in for one more drop. We might have 1 or 2 probes go down in total, but these are losses that Classic can absolutely afford, and also stutter stepping forward with these Stalkers means none of those Widow Mines are going to survive. Excellent defense so far by our Protoss player.
Yeah, that was perfect, knowing that he was able to get that. He was even, like, you kind of saw him, he didn't pull it directly immediately because he was just kind of waiting for the medevac to drop, but he saw it coming in. So he gets the confirmation that they are mines, pulls it away to minimize as much downtime on the minerals as possible, gets the 2 Widow Mines as well, which is a great addition. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be feeling totally fine in this position. Not going to be going super crazy fast storm this time. We'll be getting that third base at a still kind of late timing compared to what we've normally seen in the last year or so. And going into the Templar Archives regardless, but it will still actually, okay, then we're now dropping in the third base here with the Reaper Hellion, kind of elevatoring them up. Does Classic expect this? He's only got 1 Stalker, it looks like, in the main base for now. So a couple probes are going to be forced to be pulled and also killed because of that. And that will net a 5 probe advantage there for Cure, so evening things up. But now also Stalkers on the other side, didn't see these on the mini-map, are going over and picking away SCVs of their own. So blow for blow with Classic just barely coming out on the in the advantage there.
Yeah, I was actually really liking that move there from Kira. I was wondering where the Stalkers from Classic were, and then we saw them just bleeding into the natural expansion and getting a ton of damage done. So things equalizing quite well there for Classic. And behind this third base, it is a slightly faster third and a slightly later storm, but for all intents and purposes, this is effectively the same build as game number 1, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll see if these Stalkers can end up doing anything else. Going into the main base, we'd love to get Stim or Combat Shields. Unfortunately, targeting down concussive shells, but you can't ever know. So getting anything is still good, and we'll try to go for at least a couple SCVs before actually... Oh, I didn't even think about this. This is there's so much opportunity here. You can just blink all the way back down to this eventual third base, and then you can really get out clean. So that's actually great. I guess it would have been better to go straight for the SCVs, but you see that Tech Lab researching, and you can't resist sometimes. You're just like, oh, what if I... Oh, wait, no, the units are already here. Crap. Okay, all right, just get an SCV and run away.
Yeah, but I mean, it can be a game ender if you're somehow able to deny Stim, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In any case, I love the way that both players are kind of using the top left and the bottom right corners of the map for these drop plays, for the elevators, for the Hellions, for the oh my goodness, for the blinks, but also that was a great storm coming in.
Oh my god,
from Classic. These medevacs so low on HP now. I'm watching the minimap trying to see, if I was Classic in this situation, I would start roaming with some Stalkers to try and stop these medevacs from retreating back to Cure's side of the map, right?
Yeah, I feel like we definitely need a pylon at least at that other base to the top side to make sure that we can see these coming, because we just keep going back to this position. Both players are, in fact, like you said. It's kind of cool how they're using that, and it's like a direct lead up into the main base. So yeah, I feel like we definitely need a little bit more vision on that top side. I mean, the watchtowers, of course, are going to get fought for as well. And the observer, I think it's only, actually looks like there's 2 of those on the map right now. So still decent vision, but those medevacs will stay tucked away in the top left corner there, and that's still going to be something that Classic has to remember about, perhaps leaving some units back to defend against that, as we're going to have a little engagement towards this bottom watchtower. We can see the vision becoming very important to fight over on this map.
Yeah, although Cure does have the advantage of being able to retreat into these speed zones. Kind of a very interesting section of a map, right? You have Classic with a clear advantage of vision, but Cure with speed, and now actually a triple drop coming back into the main base. We do have 2 storms available in these Templar, but you gotta be careful not to storm your own probe. So it is just gonna be one kind of safety storm there on the back line, and then a Zealot Warp in confirms that this drop will be disposed of. And is that a Warp Prism actually coming into the main base here of Cure? We have a couple of Templar here in this Warp Prism. Is Classic, he's asleep at the wheel.
It's the most anticlimactic Warp Prism I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just walks right on out of there. That's been unfortunate. But at least Classic defended that drop just a couple of seconds ago very well, so this isn't really that big of a deal. Second drop also coming on in, and that's going to get denied as well. I feel like Cure is being extremely wasteful with some of these drops. I think he's overcommitting a bit too much, losing really more than he should, and now he's finding himself down a lot of supply out of nowhere.
Yeah, Classic has been parrying those drops in the top left corner of the map so well over the course of this game, and you can really see it just kind of... 150 gas lost only here for Classic is absurd.
3 Stalkers, that's it. Wow.
It's a 2K resource difference, more or less, here at the 9-minute mark. And Classic, you know, he's already got Storm online. He's going for the second Robo, the second Forge, the Robotics Bay for Colossus. He won't be able to get this 4th base up as Cure is able to deny it, but... so far, these trades have been going very well for Classic, and now it's actually Classic posturing for a big attack of the natural expansion, Gemini.
Yeah, this has not been scouted by Cure. I think he was expecting Classic to just continue to build up back at home and just continue to deflect all the drops he's done, but there's been so much wasted here by Cure that Classic's just going across the map saying, I know you have got barely anything to defend me. My army is definitely stronger. It is getting a bit awkward here, though, because he's kind of funneling himself up into the main base, and Cure's actually doing a pretty decent job of just getting a lot of Widow Mines and just getting some splash damage here and there, while the drops are now actually doing damage now that things are not left back at home.
Yeah, the worker losses are relatively equal right now on both sides, but I have to give the advantage to Classic in this situation. His army is just so much more refined with all these Templar. You can see Cure just trying to focus fire them out with the Marauders getting trickled out of those barracks. And for Classic, up until this point, you know, he hasn't really been hampered too much on production. +2 ground weapons, +1 armor still coming in. I don't think we have Storm on these Templar, just a little bit low on energy. It's mostly the Zealots here. Energy recharge maybe not available just yet. Instead, we're going to have a recall here on this Nexus.
Yeah, the recall is going to be needed to be able to defend against this, but Cure, realizing that he's a bit spread too thin, will be GGing out, and Classic takes a 2nd game in this series.
Wow, and that was a really hectic game number 2. There was so much drop play on both sides, and even the Blinkstalkers going into the natural expansion and then shimmying their way all the way down to the bottom right corner and then blinking right back out. That was kind of a tricky game number 2, but it felt like Classic just got the better end of effectively every single trade.
Yeah, I mean, the drops continued to be the key issue, I feel like, for Cure. Like, he was really trying to force that more than I think he should have. I think he just didn't expect Classic to keep having such a large army set up for those defenses. It's not often nowadays that you see Protosses just leave like a whole section of their army in one base to be able to defend against anything. It's a lot of times, you know, the Blink Stalkers are out on the map. They're trying to pick away at anything. They're trying to blink here and there. They're trying to kite you back across the map, and then you leave just barely the smallest amount back at home to be as efficient as possible. But Classic was just like, no, I don't care. I'm just going to kind of leave the map open. I'm just kind of like a few Blink Stalkers out, but then my main army is just going to be split up 2 spots. The Fast Storm also allows you to deal with those drops if you know where they're coming as well. And yeah, he just did it pretty well.
Guys, we welcome you to be a part of our journey here in the RSL. If you want to support the RSL on Patreon, go to patreon.com/ReviveSC2. There are all these different tiers and perks available for you. And of course, that $25 tier, we get maps just like that one voted in from the fans here in RSL Season 1, and that's going to carry on into RSL Season 2, RSL Season 3. It is so fun having you guys be part of this journey with us, and we sincerely appreciate your support.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we get back, this upper bracket finals is going to continue on between Classic and Cure. We'll see you in a minute.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're going to be going into game number 3 here in this best of 7, and Gemini, this could be really one-sided.
Yeah.
We were kind of worried about this when we came to the studio today.
Yeah, it's only one best of 7 today, and so far Classic is looking very strong. The first game was pretty dominant by him, and the second game, I think, looked even better. I mean, the constant drops being thrown out by Cure were getting swatted away, just like a little fly swatter. It looked very difficult for him.
Yeah, you know, it's one of these things where I'm not exactly sure what the play is for Terran here. You know, sometimes we'll say, okay, well, if a game goes on for a long time and Terran can't do anything, don't let the game go on for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But if Terran also can't rush, I don't know. You know, we're kind of in a predicament here, I think, in the matchup in general. But yeah, look, Cure, I think he's an excellent player, but Classic is seemingly making this matchup look extremely easy.
Yeah, I'm not even expecting Classic to change anything up either. I'm just expecting him to keep doing the same thing. It's working. You don't stop what's working. Like there's no reason to try and fix something when it's not even broken. And Cure is the one that is really kind of scrambling to find some answer to this. I would be honestly surprised to see an SCV pull as well, considering the fact that we're just going fast storm as Classic every time. So it's like that's going to be you're just walking right into a meat grinder at that point.
Yeah, it seems like there's almost no need to go for Colossus right away.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, sometimes I look at certain matchups and certain iterations of the game, and I go, I don't know how to stop what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like what they're doing looks really strong. So I have, honestly, I think more questions than answers here. But, you know, Cure, as strong as he's looked in this tournament, Classic's making this look very easy. And it's a great feeling. When you're at Classic and the games are going the way they are, you know you don't have to do anything, right? You just keep hitting those notes, you know, go with the ebb and flow of what you've already been doing, and you should be fine. So we're going to go into game number 2. Fingers crossed for the sake of a longer show here tonight that we actually get Cure to get some wins, because right now, Classic in the bottom right versus Cure in the top left, he has a 2-0 lead.
Yep, I'm looking, of course, to see what Cure is going to be doing to switch things up. He did go for some double gas openers, is maybe something that he could look into to switch up a little bit, maybe just be a little bit greedier or something like that. But the problem with it is, though, is that if you do go a bit greedier, then the early hallucination scout will see that. And if you try to go too greedy with it, then you're just leaving opportunity for your opponent to alter there as well. And then you can start to get punished from that. So the early hallucination scouts are such a vital thing for the Protoss to just have so much information available at any point of the game. And to be honest with you, as a Protoss player myself, it does feel very nice to be able to do that in my ladder games. But I'm sure Cure is having a hard time here.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you know, the games look like extremely frustrating losses.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have it back and forth, or you even have like a nail biter where it's not clear until the last, you know, maybe 30 seconds or last minute who's going to win. But here it's just like we're watching Cure be on struggle street.
Yeah, yeah. He does need to kind of just reach into the back pocket. And he is going to be going for the single gas this time, not double gas. So that's kind of what I was mentioning as one of the things he could try, at least bring out something just a little bit more straightforward. Not go for the double gas openers this time and maybe just go for something a little bit more traditional. So we'll see what Cure's got cooked up here specifically for this one, as it is just going to be the Reaper follow-up coming afterwards as well to make sure he can get the full-on scout. So we'll see what ends up being, if it's going to be factory, if it's going to be extra racks. I would be honestly very surprised to see 3 racks. I feel like that's not something that would be very good against this style. So likely just going to be a factory into other tech.
So for now, it's going to be just continued development here. No one's going to try anything crazy. It seems like a lot of the PVTs we've had just are a little bit slow to start.
Yeah, there's nothing like super crazy happening in the early games in these recent series and whatnot. There's no proxies as much. There were a couple like double proxy racks, like with Marauders and stuff like that a couple of months ago, which I am, to be honest, actually maybe a little bit surprised that we're not seeing as many more of those types of strategies, because I felt like those were like kind of they were doing pretty decently at punishing the early sentry stuff, but then you see players like Hero just not even scouting it and defending it anyway with just pure Sentry battery and probe pulls, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
sick. Well, okay, I guess that doesn't work either.
I wonder if maybe we should just have a SCV pull from Terran, like just a really early, like pre-storm.
Yeah. It's so hard though when you're as Classic going for it on 2 bases because like
Yeah, I guess that's
how
true.
can you,
I mean, it's
you're
not
like
even
pulling
about
SCVs before medevacs are barely even out. It's like
yeah,
so hard.
that's a good point. You haven't really accumulated anything at that point in time, anyways. Yeah, I mean, right now, Classic just playing a comfortable game. He's going for Blink again here. Would not be surprised if he kind of locks in on 2 bases before taking a third, although it is not uncommon to see Protosses take a third base early on here.
Yeah, he's been going for them later overall, but he could always still throw in an earlier one if he wants. He's even got his probe set out to try and do that this time, so it looks like he did want to try to alter his style just a little bit. Hellion comes in to deny that super fast expansion so far, but he can easily just send another one of those out, and looks like he will because there is no extra gas coming in from Classic either, so yeah, it's going to be that faster third base style. Will he go straight into Templar again, or is he going to try and go into Colossus with this? It's still kind of up for air. I feel like you can go for either of them. For Cure, though, he's going to be going for a medevac drop with Widow Mines in it at a different timing here to try and punish Classic, see if he can catch him off guard.
Okay, the medevac's inbound right now. Protoss with a fast third base is maybe spread a little bit thin. It's interesting to see that he's fractured off 1 Widow Mine here.
Yeah, I wonder what that is doing.
I guess he wants to like just walk into the natural. I guess there's like a little bit of a mind game. Like
Yeah, that's cute.
you in moments like this, the Protoss can tunnel vision so hard because they're like just trying to make sure they don't lose any workers. That I guess in theory you could just like walk into the natural maybe, and it's not defended. Oh no!
Oh my
goodness!
goodness.
Yeah.
And that one gets away too. Holy
Wow.
moly. That was crazy. That was definitely a bit risky for Cure to try and get that try to get that Widow Mine out of there. Mind gaming a little bit, just going back and forth, not wasting the shot, but Blink finishing just barely too late. Isn't quite able to get that medevac. But yeah, I like the idea of just kind of walking that 1 Widow Mine in the front. Sometimes you're just not expecting that. Classic though was, and he had a Stalker out in a pretty random position, honestly it felt like, so was pretty on top of all that, so no early damage done. And now Classic with Blink finished and a Robo going for some observers, and then right into the Templar Archives as well to still go into Storm to set himself up for that nice mid game that he's been so comfortable with lately.
Widow Mine gonna burrow over here. The Stalkers just run right in. You don't really have to respect the bunker that much. You can always sacrifice some shields, maybe even a little bit of hull there. And now we're gonna have the Raven come through here, probably chuck down some auto turrets.
Yeah, this is always super annoying to deal with. The battery is perfectly positioned, though. Will be able to defend against that at the third base, but not quite at the natural. Stalker's forced to warp in to deny that. And now the Raven is pretty much just going to sit over here and just accumulate some more energy. Try to go for yet another one a little bit later. But yeah, the Stalkers still at the front are able to do some decent work because there's no tanks out for Cure. He's actually gone totally into Widow Mines on a reactored factory. So there's no tank that's just kind of constantly shelling shots off at the Stalker, so they could try to even go in again to do a little bit more poking and prodding. But it will be a double medevac drop going to the top right-hand side as well that will potentially catch Classic off guard if he's not really anticipating this, but he should be aware with this Stalker, if he was paying attention, that there's no real medevacs with this. So he might be able to put 2 and 2 together if he doesn't see all 4 medevacs together in one position.
That's a really good point. When you see something missing, and you know the player is as good as these guys are, right? It's not like they forgot to make it. It's going to be somewhere else, and that could queue you up for the drop. Now, there's like only 2 pylons powering all of this infrastructure. Like, this is going to be bad if he can get the unload. Now, he decides to go to a safer position here. Probably try to get some workers. A Psystorm down here. Got to be careful because you can take your own workers out with that. Psystorm does not discriminate. And this damage, you know, he's still kind of chipping away here. Really didn't get that many workers until the very end here. Got up to 5. And it seems like there's just barely enough. Protoss hasn't quite mopped this up yet.
That actually ended up doing way more damage than I expected. The thing that Cure did with this as well is he noticed there was a Templar on the defensive, so he actually purposely dropped them in the mineral line to force a potential storm on his own probes. And what he also did, which I thought was really interesting, is that he didn't actually go in with the other drop because he assumed that Classic would know oh, there's only 2 medevacs here. The other 2 are probably waiting somewhere else. And Classic was just sitting at his third base waiting for another attack. So he wasn't actually bringing other reinforcements into his main base. And so that just kind of slow burn of the last few bio units actually got some decent probe damage done. So kind of a nice little move by Cure, just kind of a mind gaming exactly what he's doing with that. 1 Widow Mine, not enough to kill that Prism, but it will weaken it and make it very awkward later on.
This battery actually saving quite a bit of probes here. Now, as the auto turrets are chucked in there, he's going to drop right over here in this third base. This is as Classic is out on the map, so there's going to be a lot of stuff killed off here. Now, he did just some of that over there to try to spread the damage out, but Classic's doing a very good job. Oh my god, actually, this is kind of crazy here from Cure. There's like 3 different locations at once. The problem, though, is I feel like Cure might be feeding in long-term, right? He's killing some workers off, sure, but he's really not killing any of Classic's army off. And, you know, as the game goes on and on here, it's possible that Classic's going to have a pretty scary army, especially with all the medevacs kind of being revealed there. You know, they have to travel all the way back home to pick up more and then go all the way back out across the map. So this might be a good moment here for Classic to try to move out on the map like he was earlier.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened last game as well, where the drops were just constantly deflected, and then eventually the army is just too big since none of it died. You were trying to suicide everything for workers. The only difference this time is that he was suiciding 4 workers this time. He actually did get the damage, and he still also kept some of his medevacs alive, and he got the ghost transition out in time. So Cure is looking much better in this situation. It's still going to be a bit rocky because obviously the army from Classic is still very large, and like you said, it didn't really get killed off at all in those exchanges. So this is still going to be a bit threatening from Classic, but Cure has put himself in a much better spot for this series.
He's going to come in now. Widowmine spread. Actually, I guess there's really not that many Widow Mines here. He's going to get some decent storms down. There is an EMP that's shot. I think it took energy off 1 Templar, but I mean, there's so much over here, and it feels like a lot of the army for Terran is kind of stuck at the third, while there's a lot for Classic spilling up into the natural. And how is this infantry ever going to engage here? It's just going to walk into storm after storm after storm.
Yeah, this is really awkward for him to walk up into this ramp, and the Zealots are now kind of ransacking the main base. They just kind of walked right up, and the rest of the main army is just able to sit here in the natural, completely forcing away the Terran's army from ever engaging in their own base. SCV's getting massacred left and right. Sure, there's a bunch of ghosts out, and they got some pretty okay EMPs, but when the entire army is just walking through the rest of the bio, it's like, what do you even do here? Is Cure, the CC has been killed? This is terrible. Cure GG's out. A 3-0 so far for Classic.
Oh my god. I think this is not going to be very long.
Oh, boy.
I thought we could have a pretty long series here today. Classic is unstoppable.
No matter what happens, he just he just finds the timing. He knows when he needs to go in. He took like 20 maybe probes worth of damage in the early game, drops going everywhere, and he's eventually kind of pushes it away, and he's like, yeah, okay, now I win.
We're just watching.
And I was like, oh, okay, sure.
With honestly, like, if you look at the way he's arranged everything to hit at once, it looks really cool. But then when he gets in and drops, he's just flailing. He's just flailing. Man. Well, that's incredible. Right now, I mean, I'm trying to imagine a world where Cure can come back.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely
4 games, but right now even 1 game. I mean, it looks hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, he put himself in the best spot that game for sure. Like, that was definitely the best he did. But that's also a bit worrying when you look at the whole series as a scope, when that was the game that he did the best in, because that was also still a pretty, at the end of the day, kind of a stomp when it came to the actual engagement from Classic.
Wait, do you hear that? Feed me. Oh my god, it's the RSL Patreon. It's me, the RSL Patreon. My hunger knows no bounds. Join me. Grab your credit cards. Sign up now. If you're already a member, upgrade your membership. Oh my god, I didn't know it's taken on a life of its own.
Oh my god, what's that voice that it's got? It's always like an angry troll under the bridge.
It's like, I just imagine it like a kind of Baron Harkonnen, like just massive, just
oh my god,
fat monster. Guys, we've got all sorts of different tiers.
Get the StarCraft community under control.
Yes.
Or it'll be your head.
I need as many sponsors. I need as many subscriptions as possible. But no matter how many I have, I will never be satisfied. I am the RSL Patreon.
Oh my
Guys,
God.
we also need you to join the YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, hey, let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to know what you. I'm a YouTuber and I still read the comments. I read the comments and I go, okay, yeah, you think the game's dead. That's good. Guys, join the YouTube. It's hard to grow the YouTube when you first start out, but the algorithm's pretty generous to StarCraft 2 content when it picks up. So we need likes, we need subscribes, we need what else do they do? Turn
Comments.
on the bell. Oh, the bell.
Get
How
the
will
little
you
ding
know?
notification
Yeah, turn
when we
on the
upload
ding.
stuff.
That's what you need, more notifications in your life. That's important. You don't get enough of those in your life. We've got the RSL X account, and the staff here has been killing it with the updates on that. But, we're still new. So we need that out there. If you could ever retweet it, anything, I don't know. We're trying to game the algorithm here, man. This is us versus the fact that this is a 15-year-old game, and we started this a few weeks ago. So, yeah. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to go into game number 4. And, I mean, look, whether you're a Classic fan or not, I think fingers crossed we can at least get some more games out of this series. Otherwise, it may be our shortest broadcast yet.
Yes.
Oh. What's up, everybody? We're back, and we're watching what's so far been an insanely one-sided match. A PvT where Classic, no matter what Cure does, it seems like Classic is unstoppable.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough for him. I mean, last game was definitely the best he's looked, and he was able to get some damage with the early drops and whatnot, but he's going to have to switch up things a little bit differently again, because that one also didn't quite work. I liked the faster tech to Ghosts, of course, because Ghost obviously is the best counter you have for Storm fast, but I mean, it seemed like Cure just, even though he did so much damage, he just didn't get enough time to recoup back at home to be able to actually set himself up correctly. I feel like maybe, you know, having a couple more rounds of Widow Mines in there could have helped, of course. It would have been nice to try to zone away some of the Zealots a little bit better, but I feel like he just kind of got caught a little bit when he wasn't quite expecting Classic to get across the map so quickly there, and he just got like shut out of his own base. Like he's just sitting there in the low ground of the third base, unable to even walk up the ramp. So it was definitely a difficult game for him.
Yeah, it was painful to watch. And we're kind of seeing this issue. This has been going on for weeks and weeks now, since we really got back into the groove of competitive StarCraft 2. But it's not clear to me what the Terran is supposed to try to do to get the edge on the Protoss, right? I mean, the reality is, and look, you know, years and years ago, Widowmine drops were like one of the hardest things for players to deal with.
Yeah.
In the game, it's like, oh, my screen's in the wrong place. Well, now I've lost the game. But the truth is that people have gotten so good at just basically being ready for drops. It feels like Cure kind of trades into him, and this Storm tech makes it just very difficult for the Terran to engage.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost a little bit as well, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to say that I kind of like watching Protoss win because I am a Protoss player, but
yes.
Also I do like competitive series, and right now this is not quite one of those. I mean, Classic has just been absolutely blowing Cure out of the water. We are on the grid as our next fourth map, hopefully not the last, but this is one of the newer maps that we've put into the map pool from the community vote, which you guys can participate in if you are a member of the Patreon. So some of those people were able to vote in the I think we have 4 of the maps that were put in here. This is one of them. I think this might be the first time I'm casting this one. I'm not sure if I've seen this one yet, but yeah, looks like it's, you know, pretty straightforward map, but I kind of like some of the additions that we've had so far. I mean, the other 2 maps that we've been seeing have been giving some interesting strategies as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have this whole map voting system here for RSL, and that we did elect to have some maps with some more experimental ideas. I think there's been a lot of conservative map choices, but I think it's good to have maps that are a little bit crazy and might offer a different perspective on the game itself. So in this game, it's going to be the scouting probe coming in here, and as far as I can tell right now with Cure, it's going to be him teching up and getting a later command center. Yeah,
he's gone for double gas yet again, so similar to the other 2 games. Last game he went for the 1 gas opener, doing it a little bit more standard. This time it's going to be the double gas. We'll see if he wants to switch that up in terms of what he's actually doing. The other times he did it, he was going for Hellion Reaper aggression, which wasn't able to do really much damage at all, I feel like. So we'll see if he ends up going for that or if he's going to try and switch it up. I mean, there's plenty of options you can go for as a two gas opener Terran player, but it seemed like Cure was kind of just sticking to the one that he seemed to like the most.
Okay, so we've got a Reaper inbound here. The battery's going to go down. The Adept's going to be out right now. And to be frank, everybody, I mean, a lot of the early game, probably not much going to go down right now. It's really going to come down to the mid game and how does the Terran want to try to approach this? Because the issue over and over again is Terran kind of can't really, especially when Storm's done, can't really touch the Protoss. We had a couple games where Classic was going for Colossus, and you know, with Colossus, it can be sniped, right? It can end up with kind of a bad angle, but when it comes to blasting something with Psystorm, I mean, if a Terran stims and runs in, you've already got that initial damage on the units, right? I mean, that's the wager you take whenever you go for stim is that you're weaker, but that means the Storm melts stuff so much faster.
Yeah, and you're also just kind of throwing down the storms from a kind of safer position. It's hard to just target down like a couple of Templar, basically. It's not, you know, when you have just a Colossus sitting there, it's kind of easier to just run in, snipe that, and then run out. But yeah, the storms make it very difficult. They're an excellent zoning tool as well to prevent the Terran from trying to do those deep dives onto your army and whatnot. So yeah, it's been doing very well for Classic. Looks like we're going to be having a Cyclone Medevac opener here from Cure, so something a little bit different than what he's been doing in the series so far, but nothing that's totally unstandard or anything. This has been happening quite a lot from the Terran perspective, especially to help deny these fast hallucination scouts, and also to potentially pick up and drop as well, but unfortunately running right into that hallucinated Phoenix, so that will be scouted immediately from Classic. Will drop the Cyclone to try and push that scout away, but all the information is there, and Classic should be prepared for this drop.
This is so awkward when you're still going for the drop after you've been spotted.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I hope you're bad. Here we go.
Please be worse than I expect.
Yeah. Please
I'm
be
not
a bad
respecting
player.
you.
Yeah. And then you just Medevac gets shot down. You're like, damn it! Just punching the table.
Why can't you be
play this game?
more?
I could have just turned around. So the Reaper is going to come through here. I mean, this unit, obviously, it's obsolete the longer the game goes on. So, you know, it's going to be picked off here. Predictably, there is the Twilight Council. It's going to be Blink again with the Robo Bay. Probably a third base coming up here unless he really wants to rush into that storm. This time around, Terran's going to be going for Banshees with Cloak.
Yeah, I do like that addition. I think that's kind of smart. Unfortunately for Cure, Classic this time did still go for the faster Robo overall, so we'll still have observers out for the Banshees. The question is, where will those be positioned? Is he just going to send one across and just have it out of position when the Banshees do arrive, or will he kind of keep them back a bit more conservatively? I'm not sure if his Hallucination Scout actually scouted that there is a tech lab on the starport or not, so that he can kind of get keyed in on that. But for now, it looks like he is sending one of the observers across with the Blink Stalkers pressuring at the front, going into charge immediately afterwards with that Templar Archives, considering he is on 4 gases without any third base, makes the most sense, so he will be pretty set for that. And he did, in fact, see that research going down on the starport, so with all of the information yet again here for Classic, is he prepared for 2 Banshees, though?
Yeah. 2 Banshees is going to do, as long as he doesn't, you know, hiccup the shots, you can kill off probes extremely fast. We already know there's a little bit guarding the entrance to the outside part of the base over here. Stalkers are going to run right up here. I think I saw an observer down there.
Yes, he does have one with those Stalkers, so they will be a little bit late, though, because those observers are extremely slow, and it looks like Classic was anticipating the Banshees to come from the bottom, but they did come from the top side, so that's 8 probes getting killed off, and only one of the Banshees getting killed is pretty decent. The battery is here at the natural as well, so that one Banshee has to run away, but not the worst damage. It would have been nice if he could have kept both of them alive, though.
So, you know, unfortunately, even though 8 probe kills is really good, there was a period, it wasn't like so much the shots were staggered as one Banshee was further away than the other, so the missile travel time took longer, so there were a couple probes that just didn't die. So this could have, I think, even been as high as 12 for kills. Psystorm is going to finish in a moment here with the Warp Prism halfway done. And, you know, one way to think of this from Protoss is it's just sort of a slow cook of a game. He's not in a rush to take bases. He'll take all the bases on the map later on, but he's getting Psystorm. He's making sure that he can have an extra base up when it's the right time here, which is now. Now, Terran's going to try to come out across the map, and this is a pretty sizable push. This is one where, like, if the Protoss missteps, I think the Terran will cut through and get the kill.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the tanks as well. It makes it much more difficult to engage into the Terran when they have that backline of tanks that you can't just kind of run into. Got to make sure you have a little bit of a spread going on, catch them when they're unsieged, force them to siege in the middle of the map, and then run on back home. He does have 4 Templar out and even potentially 2 in that Prism, actually, so I think he's got plenty of Storm energy, and Cure realizing this with the scan is like, I need to run away from this. Does split off from that one drop of the 2 Templar, so unfortunately those 2 Storms not able to do too much, but will try to chase this army down and not let it get home unscathed. This is still going to be very awkward for Cure. Will he be able to get another Storm? Nice pre-split to deny that, and now I think it's a little bit difficult here for Classic to try and go even further. Wants to make sure this Banshee gets cleared up and maybe recoup for another attack.
Yeah, no, the spread is incredible right now for Cure. Like, it's going to be very hard to really take advantage of Storm there. A lot of times the Storm starts to work when the Terran starts to move the army again, like after they're on hold position, like they realize they have to fight because things are so clumpy in the way the game is programmed. He's going to fly in here now. And we will have a drop. I wasn't sure if he was going to actually unload it or not. Got to be careful with that because, you lose the Warp Prism, you lose any ability to do any more damage. I don't know that Protoss is actually going to try to run in here. I feel like that might be a suicide mission.
Yeah, this tank setup is a bit awkward to deal with as the Protoss. However, Classic, maybe thinking otherwise, just wants to run up anyways, is just going to go right. It blinks onto the tanks as well, just says, YOLO, I'm just going for it. Has so many storms on the back end still. The Stalkers get obliterated, but the Prism's still alive. The Vikings just barely able to kill that with the Widow Mine also helping out. That actually is critical for Cure to stay alive, because if that Zealot Warping gets off, I think he actually has a momentum, or a possibility to swing the momentum in his favor, but thankfully that Prism does get sniped, and it's forced Classic to recall back home. An excellent defense for Cure.
Yeah, definitely a good save there for Cure. Classic in a bit of a deficit. I think Classic, before that attack, glowing with confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a little bit of a reality check of, what you are capable of doing when trying to dive into an entrenched position, especially with siege tanks and Marines spread out reasonably well. And if there was one thing that could go Cure's way in this game, that would have been it. So, this is not saying that Cure is even necessarily going to win right now, but this is much better than, other situations that he could have been in here.
Yeah, and that Prism getting dangerously low. One more volley from those Vikings would have dealt with that. Nice feedback on the one Ghost into the double Size Storm. Swatting this away for now. There's only a few medevacs with very low energy here to actually heal all this up, so he doesn't want to go too deep as Cure. And that Prism still is alive, could run over to the main base to go for a drop as well to really continue to split Cure thin here as he tries to take some momentum back on the map.
Okay, so Cure is going to wrap around the bottom now. And, most of this map, because you're concentrated at the top. Well, hold on a second. We got Size Storm drops coming in here.
Just
kidding. Never mind. Yeah, just kidding. I like this. I like this a lot. Gonna unload that there and maybe try to go to the natural. And Protoss is actually counterattacking here. So this is the moment you get in here as Protoss, you go, uh-oh, there's nothing here. He's somewhere else on the map. We could have a base trading situation. Remember, the Protoss has more bases and is actually doing more damage right now.
Yeah, the good thing for Classic is that he initiated faster. Cure wasn't actually expecting this to happen, and so he was actually a bit later on the trigger than Classic was. Before Cure was even on top of any of these bases, there were already Zealots in all three of the mineral lines for Cure, and so Classic does have the upper hand in that regard. The difference is that his army is overall a little bit smaller, and oh my god, the storms are crazy up on the SCVs and the high ground here, but oh my god, double Colossus on the back end as well. That transition came in at the perfect time. These probes trying to get the surround. There's no anti-air for the Vikings. They could just kind of wail away the Colossus, but I think Cure is panicking, not realizing that. And now he's down to literally one SCV, and all of his main base is getting destroyed by just a couple of Archons even. This has gone really bad for Cure really quickly.
I mean, there's nothing that Cure can do at this point in time. He has no workers, no army. I guess he's got mules. Those are pretty good. Look, I mean, the counterattack was perfect. The fact that there was a double Colossus, the probe pull was perfect. The Viking wasn't going to kill the Colossi in time. I think it is physically impossible for Protoss to win this game. Sorry, for Terran to win this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's looking terrible for him right now. This is really, really bad. He's got literally 0 SCVs. That double Colossus coming out at the perfect time was so good from Classic. I mean, the Vikings in very low number definitely was not expecting the fast Colossus transition. So very nicely done by Classic there. One EMP going to try to deal with that, and Cure realizing what he's up against will GG out. A 4-0 from Classic, dominating yet another Terran player in the RSL.
Terran player is literally shaking right now. Every Terran at home went, nah, and just Mountain Dew spilled into their keyboards.
All the Doritos flying off of their
exactly.
shirt.
Dorito dust, just a cloud, like a dark swarm in Brood War. Terran player is going to be cooking on the forums tonight.
Yeah, man. Oh, boy.
That's right.
That thread is going to be hot on Reddit.
Manifestos written tonight. After seeing how the matchup looks right now, I don't know if there's any Terran that can beat Classic right now.
I mean, even Clem failed at it earlier. I'm curious. I kind of want to see a rematch of the two, just because I feel like he's going to have the best chance at beating him. But I want to see what he has cooked up for that. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what happens there. But for now, it looks like Classic's unstoppable.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. That was when we started. Show started at 7. About an hour and a half. Thought we'd have a longer day here. Sorry, everybody. That's the nature of the tournament.
Yep.
But we're going to be back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And tomorrow's going to be a much longer day.
Yes, we got 2 different series that time, so we're going to have plenty of action. We're going to be seeing who's going to be continuing on in the lower brackets. As we can see, Shin versus Clem is what's going to be happening first, and then, of course, the winner of that will be playing against Cure to see who will be facing Classic up in the grand finals on Sunday. That's
right. This has been just such a fun tournament. It feels like it's gone by really fast, but we've had a lot of days of broadcasts. So, I mean, it's been a treat. 2 more days, man, and then we will have crowned our very first RSL champion. Many, many more champions to come, though, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we want to thank, of course, archonstudio for coming in and helping us here at RSL. Because of them, we were able to double the prize pool, which is super sick. So all these awesome nerds are able to bring home just a little bit more prize money for their winnings here at the RSL.
Yeah. Shout outs to archonstudio. Their products are awesome. When they reached out to me, I wasn't really familiar with them, and I was like, is this like a, because it's got Archon in the name, I'm like, do you guys just only do StarCraft stuff? And then I go into their website, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. So not just StarCraft stuff. Obviously, we're here to promote the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game, which will be in pre-sale later this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Feed me! I've returned! My hunger knows no bounds! Larger prize pools, better studio setups, live events. I am the RSL Patreon. Feed me, Gemini. Yes. A stalker tier. Sign up, guys. Get on the Patreon. Listen, I got a sad story to tell you guys. I had a friend. He came to me and he goes, "My wife found out I was cheating on her, and I think she's so upset at me. I think we're gonna get divorced. She just lit all my clothes on fire." And I said, "Oh my God. Well, you can buy new clothes if you're a Patreon member." With 20% off at the Tasteless TV merch shop, tastelessthreads.com. And he goes, "Are you even listening to what I'm saying?" I said, "I'm going to lose my marriage." And I said, "Are you listening to what I'm saying? 20% off and you're going to support the RSL? Get on that. You're going to be fine." I hung up and I came to the studio. And you can do the same. So consider checking out our merch. We've got StarCraft kind of themed merch. We've got RSL merch. Obviously, it's on screen here. We've got kind of esports themed stuff. I don't know, RTS themed stuff. There's something for everybody. And we need your help. We need your help. You guys have actually been pretty good about this. We need to keep growing the YouTube. We need to have likes and comments in the YouTube section. We also have the first episodes of the podcast up. I thought the podcast came out looking pretty cool.
Yeah, it does look nice. The little setup we have for it is pretty cool.
Yes.
It's very fun to just kind of chat about all the StarCraft stuff, about all the RSL stuff.
And I think, as you guys can imagine, it took us a while to kind of build out the studio. I had to get this get incorporated basically here so we can be above board and pay out the prize pool to all the pros properly and everything like that. But it's been exciting to have this all uploaded on YouTube. It's all spoiler free. So you can look if you're like missing a couple days because the kids or work or like my friend, his wife lit his clothes on fire. I mean, he doesn't have time to watch us now. Are you crazy? But he can check out the videos later on YouTube. We're also very active on X, so you can keep up to date with tournament announcements there. And yeah, so subscribe to the YouTube and write stuff in there.
Yes. Write many comments. Talk about how cool we are. Talk about how cool this event is.
Talk about how the Earth is flat. Whatever you want. Get in a fight with somebody. Pick a fight with somebody in the comments section, all right?
As long as it gets
Ruin
a giant
your day
chain.
Over it. Yeah,
a giant chain of comments.
As long as it gets activity, that's
Say
that's
the
what
most
we need.
rage-baity thing you can think of.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have any more slides? Is that it? Okay. Guys, sorry the day was short, but, pretty crazy how strong Classic is looking right now. Terran's in shambles. We'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to have both, I don't know why, we just had the graphic up. Shin
the
versus,
lower brackets.
Why am I forgetting?
Shin versus Clem.
Shin versus
and
Clem,
then Cure versus the winner.
And then Cure versus the winner. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. We love you. Bye-bye.